morning starting at 6 Eastern.
I put a lot of people in my scope, but none in the crosshairs. I've never eliminated the Durman's children. That's what the sheriff is saying about it. How about the family? How about the family in this case? Let's bring in a dream team and talk about the family and who they are, because a lot of people want to know. You've got adult children you're dealing with here, Mike. So let's begin with, first, Leslie Durman, the daughter. She lives in North Carolina, actually visited Russell and Shirley on Easter with her children, shortly before the murders took place. Nothing suspicious here, obviously, but you've got to investigate them.
You do. You have to talk to everybody who's closest to the victims, and that would be their family, and also the last people who saw them alive. But, here...
Not just to see him as a suspect, but to see if there's someone might have a vendetta against one of the children.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's part of the victimology, what law enforcement folks will call victimology. You start with the people closest to the victim, especially when you're trying to figure out who done it, who would have had a motive to do it, who were they closest to, who was pissed off at them, what kind of dealings did they have in their personal life. In a case like this that's so bizarre, it screams that this is something personal. You don't behead somebody. We see that with the folks over there in Afghanistan and the crazy terrorists taking off heads. They do it to make a point. So the question is, who had a point to make with this family? Otherwise, it's just some kind of crazy nut out there.
Yeah, that's Leslie, the daughter. Now you've got Brad Durman, one of the three sons. He lives in Jacksonville, Florida. The owner, co-owner of Sunrise Foods, former owner of 20 Wendy's restaurants, luxury home realtor for Sotheby's, married 20 years, and has 3 young children. So this is a guy who has a lot of money.
Right, and also it's one of the sons that took over after the father left the business, because that's where Russell Durman made most of his money, whereas in Wendy's restaurants in Jacksonville.
Right, and Brad's brother is Keith Durman. He also lives in Jacksonville, Florida, also co-owner of Sunrise Foods, former owner of 20 Wendy's restaurants, a franchisee of First Watch Restaurants. So he's still actively in that business as well.
And I think this is where they may find something, maybe some past business relationships that Russell Durman had with his sons, with somebody else, because, Vinny, as you and I talked about, when you start talking about millions and millions of dollars, things can get personal.
Yeah,
personal and very, very serious.
Hey, guys, can I get in here? When you keep saying personal, what I keep thinking of is motive. What is the motive here? This is a beyond gruesome killing, especially because of the age of this couple. And when the sheriff said personal, he seemed to describe the entrance and how the killer or killers got in and got access. And then the sheriff also talked about concealing evidence in the form of the head. However, the man's body was found in the home. Right. So a large part of the evidence still was there. Sure. So when we keep talking about personal, which I agree with, I'm still curious, does anyone have any thoughts on motive?
No, they don't.
That's the whole thing.
And the final brother, member of the family, was murdered on August 30th, 2000, on his 47th birthday, drug deal. And he,
here in Atlanta.
The murderer was convicted and has no connection to big-time drug dealing. All right, coming up next, an update on a story that really had Nancy Grace fired up all week.